Hi, my name is John Mancini. This is the fifth and next to last episode in the little series that I'm doing on the Big Bang and information management, and more particularly on information management meets E2O meets mobile meets consumer meets control. Like the Big Bang Theory, I have three-word titles for my episodes. And so this episode is called the Shutterfly Effect. Now the Shutterfly effect is based on my experience running my daughter's lacrosse photo sharing site. And when I started to think about this, it was really interesting. At the same time that we were doing this, I was also in the process of an internal SharePoint implementation. And so when I was involved in implementing this little Shutterfly site, I discovered that Shutterfly has changed a good deal in the last few years, and more particularly, it not only does photo sharing, but it also now does document sharing. You can do blogging and journaling from the site. It's seamlessly integrated into social networking sites. It has calendaring. You can also do tagging. Basically, a whole host of functionality that didn't exist before now is embedded directly in this consumer product. It's available for free. It's implementable, if such a thing is a word, on any browser. And I started to think about the relationship between how easy this was and also think a little bit about the challenges that we've experienced associated with our SharePoint implementation. And again, this isn't to say that SharePoint is a good or a bad product, but just the differences between implementation from a business perspective of this kind of functionality versus this kind of functionality. I thought also of this in the context of out-of-the-box mobile applications related to document and information management. And so, for example, the Box.net iPhone client is so much better than anything that exists out there now for me to be able to access my back-end SharePoint repository. This will change a good deal with Mobile 7. SharePoint functionality is one of the things that's really built in from the ground up with regards to Mobile 7. But right now when I look at this, what I experience on the consumer side colors the way that I view my experience on the enterprise side. Another example is Yammer, which is a micro-blogging platform that we rolled out internally in the course of about 5 minutes, actually. Now, I would have normally thought, oh my gosh, well that's something that perhaps a small organization like ours can get away with, but isn't really characteristic of a large organization. And then I heard a presentation last week from Ford Motor Company, in which Ford Motor Company had standardized upon the public and free version of Yammer as their enterprise microblogging platform. And it said to me that something rather fundamental is going on. As I mentioned in the start, I call this the Shutterfly effect. But really what it's about is people in the business community experiencing consumer technologies, experiencing the rollout of consumer technologies, and asking some very, very hard and challenging questions to their IT people in terms of why enterprise solutions are so difficult to implement and so expensive to implement and so complicated to implement. And I think the impact of this is going to be something that the vendor community is going to be dealing with over the next few years in terms of a transformation, in terms of the expectations that end users have in terms of their software solutions, and expectations that are colored by their experiences in the consumer arena that carry over into the enterprise arena. Now, I'm not saying this is fair. I know that enterprise solutions are way more complicated than consumer solutions to implement. But when it comes to people in the business community, they've experienced one set of experiences on the consumer side. It can't help but color how they view a similar set of experiences on the enterprise side. That's reflected in some of this data from Forrester. I think that the vendors that can solve this riddle in working with their end users are going to be some of the ones that have a big leg up in the years ahead. If you need Enterprise 2.0 information, go to our Enterprise 2.0 community at E2 Community If you need information on E2O solutions, go to our E2O community at e2ocommunity.com. For those interested in records management, ermcommunity.com is a good place to look for information. And if you need me, you can always follow me on Twitter at jmancini77 or on my blog at Digital Landfill. I look forward to speaking with you again for the last episode, The Black Swan, in my little Big Bang and Information Management series.